Is it a while we're podcasting? Why wouldn't we be?
Oh, the music just cut out.
YouTube work?
There it goes.
Hey everybody, Orange Podcast Bad episode 81. We're here we're just gonna mess some stuff up. It's Friday. Fridays are for shutdowns. Fridays government should shut down. Everybody that's crying on TV right now, that's a talking pundit, can literally suck balloons made out of helium and sound like children, because I really don't care. I have explained this over and over, Paul, that all government agencies keep funding set aside for temper tantrums between Congress and the president. They will. So even when you say military mothers and children will not get paid, yes, they will.
Yes, they will.
Bus drivers will not. Yes, they will. They keep at least 3 to 4 months of reserve for these things to happen, because they've happened over and over and over. So when Chuck Schumer gets out there and bloviates about how awful the Donald Trump is, because he won't let him spend 1.2 extra trillion dollars on illegal
aliens.
I have zero sympathy. I don't care. And you're lying. And I have said over and over, you're lying, because all agencies, yes, I've worked for one, keep money aside for government shutdowns. Everybody goes to work. Everybody gets paid.
Especially those that are funded by the big beautiful bill, which are not subject to any shutdown. Their funding is continuous. So it's only Democrat and liberal spending priorities that are going to be shut down. Everything Trump wants.
And that's why they're crying, JC.
I know.
They're crying. This bullshit liberal in Minnesota is going, I've got to have this bridge across the Nile.
Lake Minnetonka.
I'm not voting for what you want unless you give me that.
I know, it's crazy.
No. And Chuck showed his hand in the last one where he capitulated and said he was afraid of what Musk was going to do if he didn't capitulate. You ain't seen nothing yet, Chuck. We've got Russ Vogt. We don't need Elon to do this. This is baked in the cake, and it's gonna happen.
It is absolutely going to happen, and we're going to go to a shutdown. That's the most likely outcome, and I, for one, couldn't be any more happy. I could care less, because at least then they're not spending more. They're still spending. Everyone says, "Oh, the spending stopped." No, the spending doesn't stop, but they can't spend anymore because they didn't appropriate anymore.
They didn't do their work.
No, they never. They haven't since.
They didn't pass the spending bills. They didn't move it over for reconciliation with the Senate. They didn't do their job. They took the entire summer off. They even took last week off, for God's sake. So are they really in a rush? No, they haven't done anything. They're all coming back in to wail in front of the cameras and say, "Oh, it's terrible, it's terrible." But shutdown politics has changed. It's been changed forever. And the liberals dug their own grave, as they usually do if there's someone willing to take advantage of it. And that's by designating essential and non-essential. And that's all anybody has to know. If you're non-essential, you're fired. You're fired. Okay? And some of you will come back. Some. Not a lot of you. It's over. Okay, this time it's really over. And you think Mike Johnson is going to buck Trump?
No.
And boy, I mentioned this the other night, Paul, when you weren't on the air. I haven't heard anything from Lindsey Graham lately. usually usually when there are shutdowns, I hear all sorts of things from Lindsey
Yeah.
Graham and other
Yep.
moderates who
Yep.
want sweet
That's funny you
bipartisanship.
said moderate.
I don't hear a word from those
Not
guys.
a word. You know
Hey,
why?
Of
Because he's a
course, I also don't hear those that are looking to improve their positions, like Ted Cruz, who's not making a big deal out of this or anything else. He's silent as the grave. The
Mhm.
only people talking about this are Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and Russ Vogt. And Russ Vogt's
and
got the
Cory
checkbook,
Booker.
boys. Yeah, Corey. Well,
Spartacus? No way! Is there
Spartacus
videos of Spartacus out there? I gotta
and,
find them.
and Tim Walz is making a lot of noise too, but I don't really know what that's all about. I mean, that's kind of someone inside the white windowless van of the Midwest we call Minnesota is
He's running for a
beating the
third
snare.
term, which will
Yeah,
be in November, and that's why he's being so vocal. I don't know. I like if I had to make a prediction on Minnesota politics, he probably wins.
he'll win.
But it's not because the state's not red. It's because of
No,
gerrymandering, which they're
and they're
accusing red states of doing now. And the way the districts are set up, that the Republicans, even though they dominate the state, don't dominate the Twin Cities in Minnesota. So Minneapolis and St. Paul. And Minneapolis and St. Paul dominate the entire state in the same way that Chicago dominates
Illinois.
all of red farmland Illinois.
Yeah, a shame.
Mhm.
Someone's got to do.
you now have more balance in Wisconsin and Michigan because their cities have emptied out. I mean, Milwaukee and Detroit don't have the electoral strength they used to have.
Right.
And that's the limit of your mail-in ballots. I mean, the fact is that the mail-in ballots are just a new version of the big city machines gone statewide, amped up to ballot stuff. And that's what they're doing.
Before we get to obviously we're all fired up. It's Friday. We're here to break shit. Paul,
Sean, the government's already shut down. I don't even know how we can have this.
I listen, but Paul,
Right.
apparently we have money to drop drones on Venezuelan drug lords now, which sounds kind of fun to some people, but other people are saying they're not going to get any due process if a drone falls on their face inside of Venezuela. Inside of Venezuela.
That's not true. So the drones are doing an excellent job of what they are designed to do, and their operators are executing a mission that's put out by Pete Hegseth. And they're exactly on point. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And and I gotta say, using the drones limits collateral damage.
Yeah.
It really does. So it's more exact, it's more pinpoint, and Venezuela has no response to that. You know,
What can they do?
they're too 1980s to have that.
I am coming from a point of view of just observing. NBC drops this report, right? And they go, oh, fuck, it's NBC. Of course. And then everyone's like, all right, we're finally going to do the war on drugs that we have never done. All right. Nancy Reagan would be proud. I remember the frying pan with the egg, and this is your brain on drugs commercials they would play. And then I immediately see left wing politicians and left wing people come out and go, you're not giving them due process. And I was like, what? They're sending this shit laced with fentanyl to kill your children who just wanted to experiment with a little ecstasy or maybe something else. You want to give them, what do you want to do? You want to go there and arrest them? And then you want to put them on. No, let the drone just fall where the drone falls. Am I wrong, Paul?
You're not
You fought
wrong.
the war on drugs.
So
You fought the war on drugs for a long time.
listen, this new iteration of fighting the war on drugs and capitalizing on drones is the best thing that ever happened, because the drones are doing what we did, you know, going against the cartels and stuff, but they're doing it, remotely. So
So
I gotta tell
with,
you,
with
there and I have to also say, we were talking about collateral damage a minute ago. It really is minimized by using the drones, but we still get in there and get things done. So, and I'll give you a great example, a great modern, up to date example. We sent in a couple of drones in Venezuela, and they burned out some poppy fields,
mm-hmm.
right? Well, in Venezuela, it had been a dry spell. So that thing had really expanded really fast. And it was approaching, legitimate farmers who aren't in the drug trade. And the State Department, we were able to send in drones to battle that fire and get it back under control. So they eradicated the poppy field and had no effect on the coffee grow. It's all coffee country. You know that, Sean, right?
Yeah.
That's where they grow the poppy is in the coffee fields. And so they were able to save the coffee fields with the same drones we had that eliminated the poppy.
I
And
guess
nobody ever says anything about
I,
that.
I guess quickly, I just want to get technologically. So we're talking about a totally different type of drone. This thing's about the size of a Cessna 172 versus a commercially available drone that they use to drop grenades in Ukraine. It's a totally more capable and different aircraft than a 15-minute flyer from Walmart, right?
Yeah. So you know what an air tractor is?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the bright
the
yellow
farm plane.
single cab.
Farm plane.
Yeah. So that's what we started with when we started our mission back in 2005. And then they up armored the air tractor with a titanium tub for the pilot, because an air tractor could take a hit from an RPG
Yep.
and keep on flying if the pilot wasn't killed. So we the next iteration were drones. So then they flew drones in that dropped poison on the poppy and the cocoa, and now they have fire control drones that are produced here in Texas that go out and they control the burn. So they could set a perimeter where anything outside of that is not burned. And that's what they're doing now. And it's all remote.
Can I ask
And nothing I'm saying, I want to say, JC, because you're looking at me like that. Anything I'm saying is public record and not confidential.
All right, I'm
Yes.
going to ask you an unrelated question, and it's drawing upon your military expertise. If we've got that stuff, why did Maui burn?
Because there was no
Right? I know. Because
There-
nobody called to use it.
right. There was no
Nobody
political
called to use it.
interest in Maui.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. All right, so it's fucking fun Friday. We're screwing around. Listen,
Besides, Oprah doesn't get to expand her land holdings if it doesn't burn. Right?
dude, did you hear the blue roof thing? That's weird too. But you guys got to check this out.
Oh, that was
Do you
so
remember-
weird, dude.
Do you remember when the most interesting man in the world was doing commercials? Well, I've just found a commercial for the most confused man on earth, and I have to have you guys see this.
He congratulated the teleprompter on a powerful speech. He's fought in every American war since the 1700s. He thanks the city he's not in, then waves at the flag like it's an old friend. He hides his own Easter eggs. He once sniffed a St. Bernard's tail, mistakenly thinking that it was attached to an 8-year-old girl. He forgot where he left the Coke in the White House. Wait, no, he didn't. He needs GPS to find his way across a stage. He once tried to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean. He thinks poor kids can be just as bright and talented as white kids. When someone answers his calls, he asks them what they want. He once woke up from a dream to realize that he was president, so he went back to sleep. Subtitles have a day dedicated to him. He's got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. He can't go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts without speaking in a slight Indian accent. He is the most confused man in the world.
I don't always drink, but when I do,
I have trouble even saying to myself my own head in a number of years. I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than
Can I have a copy of that?
I can totally send it to you. Absolutely. Trad Dad, I think Trad Mom is jumping in too. Trad Dad's here.
Yes, I am.
The most confused man in the world.
I'm ready to replace.
We're
replace
sharing
all
me.
the
Hey, listen. For all of you, all 6 of you, once Trad Bomb gets in here, if you get good memes like that to share on our Friday show, send them to me. I will bookmark them and I will get them lined up for our Friday show. That was a banger. That was awesome.
Oh, that was a banger.
Right? The most interesting man in the world. Those commercials were great. This was a banger meme of the most confused guy in the world. It blows my mind, in all honesty. It blows my mind. The liberals that I talk to in my family, aunts, cousins, doesn't matter, or even my Republican mom that just hates hates Donald Trump because the TV tells her to hate Donald Trump. They don't find this stuff funny. They don't find it funny. And I was like, it's in comedy pre-Trump president, in late night TV pre-Trump president. Beating up on the president was hilarious, no matter who the president was. But now it's offensive. We don't care when you make fun of Trump. We laugh at it. We laugh at it too.
With the exception of Barack Obama.
Explain.
Nobody beat him up in comedy. They didn't. Bush was totally fair game.
I would think that for Obama, it was more of that parody of him was okay. Like if you're doing like an impression of him, but to actually go after his policy, I think is where a lot of comedy drew the line.
Hey, Trad Dad, do you remember that rodeo where the guy wore the Obama mask?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
I mean, I get that very much, but
he got arrested.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I think it was more. I think the country as a whole didn't know how they were going to deal with it. Because, I mean, if you look especially at that election on how that was starting off, he wasn't even the front runner to begin the primaries. then he was all of a sudden basically given the entire election and stolen from, Hillary, which that probably was a blessing in disguise, but
He got it turned when he got the Ted Kennedy endorsement.
Yeah.
The swimmer endorsed him. That was an earthquake.
Damn, dude.
That was as big of an earthquake as Tim Russerd's question to Hillary.
All right,
About illegal aliens. Yeah, here we are again, right?
We are again. And all right, so when you bring up Barack Obama as a point, so I've always been trying to keep a list of top 5 worst presidents ever, and most of them are recent. Not all. And I've been rethinking it because I've been having conversations with an aunt of mine who is almost 40 years advanced from me. And so she has a totally different view on the world. She was around literally, she was a babe around the time of World War II. So let's put things into perspective. And she can't stand the Orange Man, which I don't despise her for, unlike the way they despise us, right? And we got into a conversation about late night TV, and I think it's dying not because of politics. I think it's dying because we have content like we're doing right here that people want to watch, and they don't want to watch Jimmy Kimmel cry all night long
Right.
about how much he hates
Right.
a certain president. But then that brings me back to Obama.
He's a girly man loser.
You still like when Obama started, right? Like all of a sudden, late night TV went to pro propaganda everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when they beat up on Bush before him, even us would laugh at it and go, you weapons of mass destruction. Touche, right? And we all laughed together as a nation. It's when we got to Obama that all of a sudden the laughing was only at one side and the attacks were only at one side.
Yep.
He was a sacred cow. Bernard Goldberg, God love him, a liberal who actually had a bit of a brain, although he's got early onset now. Anyway, but he wrote a book called A Slobbering Love Affair, talking about the media with Obama, and it's still a good read. Still a good read. You can find it on Amazon, real cheap paperback. But his observations were right on, and he blew the whistle on this back in 1993, saying that CBS had a liberal bias, and of course he got fired. And he talk about a dinosaur. I mean, he was on with O'Reilly all the time, and you never really learned anything you didn't know from those guys. But it was a watershed event because prior to that, you still had people going on about Dan Rather. There is no liberal bias. What?
Dan Rather.
Dan Rather.
Well, we kind of Paul. I love Texas, but Dan Rather being from Texas, it's a little bit of a black mark. That George W. Bush National Guard story that was typed up on Microsoft Word. That was a little bit embarrassing. Yeah, and let's just say that I call Dan Rather the father of fake news.
Did he use Clippy? I mean, if he was on Microsoft Word, he had to use Clippy, right?
Because everybody used Clippy.
Remember, this was supposedly written in the 70s or the 80s. I mean, I was
70s. Yeah,
I was using PFS Professional Write, for God's sake. I mean, there ain't no Microsoft Word in the 80s.
Yeah. There was no Power BI back then.
There's the fucking typewriters back then. Come on, man.
Wait. Let me ask all you old fucks. This. When the fuck did our American media go full propaganda mode? Because you could look at, there was a definite change with Obama, but you also look at Vietnam, and they were critical of the Vietnam War, rightfully so. But then you go like into the 1950s and look at newsreels from then, television newsreels, and you go, "Holy crap! This is highly like they're like the Cold War." It like even in the 1950s, they're like, "Holy shit! We must destroy the USSR." And like
Right.
when was there a time when broadcast networks, which are supposed to be for the good of the country? I'm not talking
Indeed.
about cable news. I'm talking about broadcast radio and broadcast television. When do
Yeah,
they just go
mainstream broadcast.
propaganda? Yeah. And they're lawfully not allowed to do that, but they do.
I
Well,
think
no, I mean Obama.
1968.
Yeah.
68, why?
That was the Tet Offensive, and that was also the same time that Walter Cronkite said that the Vietnam War was unwinnable.
All right, that's a good observation. Anyone else?
I still think it got into high gear with Obama with the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act when networks were allowed to propagandize.
Paul?
Obama
No,
said Obama changed America. He did it by weaponizing the bureaucracy, and he did it with propaganda. He did it. And
Oh.
even something deeper, if you guys want to talk about it, it was David Axelrod. I'm sorry, Paul. I just want to do a little more. David Axelrod, who was a grifter in big city machine politics, and Axelrod figured out what he called a permission structure. And the permission structure was a way to get people that he considered to be older white racists to feel good about voting for a black guy in an urban city. And in large part, that's the spell of George Floyd. That's the spell of anti-racism that gripped the country from Obama's inauguration to 2021.
Immaculation. Immaculation. Not inauguration. Immaculation.
Right. That's where this crap came
properly.
from. And you know, late night comedy stopped being about Democrats on inauguration day in 2009.
Immaculation. We're gonna quote Rush popularly. Paul, I gotta get to you.
Sorry, Paul.
He's like, I already forgot what the fuck you dudes were talking about.
dude, I gotta tell you, the George Floyd things. Look,
So
I
was
worked
it-
narcotics a large portion of my career. I know 100, if not 1,000 George Floyds. And the fact that they erected a monument to him, and there's no way.
Oh yeah, that ugly statue.
So a friend of ours that's been on this podcast, you'll know him very well, young guy, mid-30s, and he's a libertarian, right? He came out with a statement, and I tagged you. You didn't see it. And that's okay. On X, that all cops are bad, and I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" Right? And he was like, "Well, listen, they're just following orders." And I said, "I don't. I'm still not following. What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, if their orders are to take away everyone's guns, every single cop would do that." And that's where I tagged you and said, Paul, what are your thoughts? And then I also responded, Paul, I responded to this. I was like, no. You're missing the whole point. You think that they're all following orders. I say they're all following the Constitution. And that if they got an unconstitutional order, they would just refuse to fulfill the order.
That's
Am I
100%
wrong?
correct. Let me tell you, man, we did not ever, in my 25 years of working law enforcement, including narcotics and running interdiction on I-95 and working on a DEA task force, we never once had a fucking quota. There was no quota. It was black and white. If you're if you're going south on I-95, you're bringing money into the cartels. If you're running north on I-95, you're bringing drugs up to the northern tier.
So
And so our job was to, you're doing 62.5 miles an hour in a 60 zone. I'm going to follow you in my 1982 Dodge four-wheel drive pickup truck. And then I'm going to call uniformed
no, you're
officer.
nailing it. This is where Nick was going, right? You guys all know Nick, except for maybe the trads, because he's been on the podcast with us. He's libertarian. He goes, well, there was no reason for police to even pull them over. And I said, they had reasonable suspicion, articulable, if you want to get into the TikTok era of using the word articulable, reasonable suspicion that you can articulate in front of a judge or a jury as to why you pulled them over. And then you also have the ability to look in the windows and go, why the fuck do you have bags of dope? Am I missing, Paul?
Even on top of that, Sean, sorry to interrupt, but even on top of that, every drug soldier I worked with, we all went to FLETC in Glencoe, which is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, and we got certified in how to ID these folks, and you put that in your arrest warrant. Based on my years of experience and my training at FLETC and Glencoe, I was able to discern these two 22-year-old men who made 4 lane changes without using a turn signal and were driving 1 mile an hour below the speed limit were the top suspects for running drugs and money through Florida. So I pulled them over. And then I pull them over and I pull them out separately. And I go to one guy, where are you going? I'm going to my mama's house. I go to the other guy, where are you going?
Yeah, we're going to Uncle Jim's.
Yeah, we're going up there. I go back to the other guy. What your mama got to say? Well, she doesn't know I'm coming, so you can't call her. Oh, okay. And I go to the other guy and go, so you don't know where you're going? He said, well, I'm with him and we're doing stuff. And I say,
I get reasonable, to use today's current TikTok terms, reasonable, articulable suspicion. You can articulate the crime to a judge or a jury,
every time, dude.
Necessary. And
right.
Let me open this up to the entire panel. Why do libertarians, just in general, hate cops?
That's why, because we fuck with their dope flow.
Oh, you think libertarians? I don't know. I'm just opening this question up. We're gonna break some stuff. Why do libertarians hate cops?
Edward, are there any libertarians in Canada?
Probably a couple.
I wouldn't think so. It's a pretty.
It's a pretty phone booth, right? Yeah, you're round them up.
It's a very strict line between the conservatives and liberals. I mean, just like in the States, it's the same thing. The libertarian thing, I still stick with Rush Limbaugh. They're just Democrats who don't know it yet, because really, when you look at them and they reveal everything they believe in, they're Democrats. So there is no real such thing as a libertarian, if you ask me. You can't ride a fence and be, half pregnant. You either are or you're not. And this is the misunderstanding a lot of people have out there. You can be a retarded Democrat, real left wing. That's what the libertarians are trying to say. That well, they're real left. The Democrats, we're kind of no. You're still a dum. You're still a Democrat. So that's really a misunderstanding.
All
That's what I
right,
can.
so there's a scale, right? Center is center. Libertarian is way over here at being not. I don't want government. Period. And then you have the groypers on the right being way over here on being I don't want government for totally different reasons. The Libertarians Party in America, at least, what I would tell you, Edward, is that they are super far left, which is correct, and what Rush has said, but that they want no government unless it's you can elect them to government because they'll make no government, which is like, why do I even need to elect you then?
Who is want to make government? The libertarians.
The libertarians want, they say it's called limited government, but they want no government. They don't want police.
But
They don't want
wait
any
a second.
form of authority over
That's
them.
that's the
They
far
want to, they
right.
want to, like, and this, so when Nancy Pelosi rightfully says they're living up in the hills and they're sharpening their sticks to come down and get us, that's the weirdos she's talking about, and it has nothing to do with the Republican Party.
First off,
And there's like 12 of them. Like, totally, like, in the entire country, there's like 12 of them.
the whole
Chase Oliver
definition
being one
of
of them.
the whole definition of a conservative, big C conservative, would mean very small or limited government. An anarchist would be no government. We want to be self-ruled by ourselves, and like Israel was a long time ago. That would be what you would call the far right extremists, where you have one person calling the shots, our father and the laws. We don't need any, great big government to do this and that for us. We'll do it ourselves. We'll all have our own trades. We'll all make our own money. We don't need to live off the government. So that is big C conservative. And then an anarchist with no law whatsoever, because we don't need that. And then you go further left, and when you get to center, you say, well, let's make some exceptions. We need a police force, because things are getting out of control here. We need a fire department, maybe for fires. And then you start going further left. You think, well, now we need to have government control, which is fascism now. Government controlled schools, hydroelectric plants, and you go further left, and then pretty soon you get to complete government control, which is all government into every business. That's a socialist fascist government. Then you go to complete communist right after that. That is the far left, communism. People don't understand how it's divided up. When people say, well, are you right? Are you left? Are you center? Left of center? Right of center? Nobody in the media is telling you the truth because they're trying to lie to you. And the average citizen hasn't got a freaking clue. So they're bouncing off all these terms that they've supposedly learned off of network news, which they're lying to you because they say that right wing is fascist. No, it's not. Right wing has nothing to do with government owned anything. That's the left. But because people hear that from the news, right away they think, oh, that must be a right wing thing. No, it's not. But they don't know any difference because they never went to university to do political science or anything else, so they wouldn't have a clue of how that stuff's going on.
Or maybe they did go to university and they learned that in their political science class.
That could,
Let me
today.
on the phone lines. We have Tread Mom and Tread Dad. Let me get an opinion from both of them.
Do you want to go first, Hunter, or me?
Go ahead, dear.
So when it comes to libertarians and not liking the police, yeah, they are pretty much the ones that I have talked to. They just want to be completely left alone without any controls from the government at all. They don't want one of the worst issues to talk about with them is they're going to put fluoride in our water, and that almost sounds like it's going to start a civil war in those areas. They just want to be completely left alone. They don't think that the government has any right to be in trade. They don't think they have any right to be in the school system, anything. It's basically, we rule this. The government's just here to help us if we need it, but otherwise we don't need their help.
So it help, like, literally what they think is only in times of war, right? Like, you get a group together militias all formed together, libertarian style, not in the way that America does it now with a formalized military. Am I getting that wrong?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. They basically are, if there's a criminal problem in this area, we know who did it. We're just going to band everybody together and probably hang them from a tree ourselves. Why do we need the cops to come here to do it? Because we already know who probably did it. Every one of those towns they're usually very small towns that have a higher libertarian population, and they'll know who the criminal is very quickly, at least according to them. If somebody else comes in worse, they will just ask for everybody else to be together, grab their guns, and let's defend the town.
All right, well, I'm still just breaking stuff because it's Friday. So, Tread Mama, libertarians, let me have it. What do you think?
Okay. So yeah, I'm on the similar belief to Trad that most libertarians that I've met, yeah, their feelings about the police is more just that, they don't like the police because they don't want anybody involved telling them how to live their lives or how to run their homes or how to do anything, which is also why they don't like the government being involved with that sort of stuff either. So it's more just kind of boils down to the whole that they want to control their own destiny and their own path, and any sort of form of authority that they feel could step in and say, well, no, you must do it this way, to them is like a threat or a no.
So, Paul, whenever a call came in and got put into your computer, and you were always Don Johnson, you did other law enforcement activities. Did you look at it and go, "Oh well, they're libertarian, and so I'm not going to go help them"? Or
Never.
you just right?
Never. No, you listen. That's ridiculous thinking. You have to go to every call. You don't make a judgment until you get there, and you interview all the parties. And if I'm speaking purely law enforcement speak, you figure out who the asshole is, and you beat him up and take him to jail.
Yes. Yeah. Well, obviously, but even that, right, is frowned upon by the left now.
Yeah, but not in my
Oh,
day.
they want the guys on the drug boat to get due process.
Oh my gosh, the drug boat going, just it's there and then poof.
Let me just say this: if Shifty Schiff, which when Trump wrote the public email or the public note to Bondi and called him Shifty Schiff, I thought that was
Yeah,
hilarious. I mean, that's how he refers to him all the time.
yeah.
But
Oh,
but
speaking of, sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna say,
No,
speaking of hilarious, did you guys all see the Pokemon video?
The what?
no.
Oh gosh, yes.
Send
Okay,
it to me.
so Ice, yes,
No, send it
Ice.
to me. See if I can play it.
Okay, let me send it to you. Hang on.
Yeah.
What I
This
was
was something
what
Ice put together.
I
I
don't
was just going to say
understand what
one of
she
the
said.
things one of the things that the left hates the most about the United States is that if a B-2 can go over there and drop 6 bunker busters right down those exhaust shafts and blow the shit out of the Iranian nuclear program, we like it. And
Oh yeah.
if our drones can fly up over international waters and blow up drug boats on camera, we'd watch a TV show about it. And
Heck
we would
yeah.
Oh
and we
yeah,
would
absolutely.
we would
Yeah.
absolutely enjoy it. And that makes them hate us. They think that we're barbarians, or we don't care about our fellow man. The hell we don't. We care about our nation. We care about our kids. We don't want our kids killed by Chinese and Mexican fentanyl. We want to rebuff the cartels. And a government that takes care of business like that is the government we want. End of sentence.
That's exactly
100.
right.
100 on that.
And frankly, I could watch those videos all night long. I mean, watching those Venezuelans get blown to Kingdom Come. I mean, that's fantastic. I love it. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe that makes me
So
a barbarian, but tough shit.
no, so okay, so the Pokemon thing. Okay, so this was sent to me by Trad Dad. He said a friend of his sent it to him, and he goes, they took the Pokemon theme and they overlapped it with videos of ICE agents arresting migrants, and it is hilarious.
So this is like Pokemon Go. All right,
It's
yeah, great.
it's 100% real too.
It is because ICE was the one who put the video out.
All right.
What is? I don't even know what Pokemon is. So
It's like a Japanese yeah, it's a video game. It's like a Japanese like
Edward,
thing.
you're so sheltered up there. You really are.
I don't do video games. I'm way too busy with life to do video games. So I don't know. No
It's not you
interest.
doing them, it would be your kids doing them.
Yeah, and plus it was like it came out like back in like the 90s. It's like way old. I mean, it's been obviously retooled over the years, but yeah, it originally came out in like the 90s.
Hey, Edward,
Is that
one of
the
the
yellow rabbit looking
so I can
thing?
give you my street cred. One of the stars of Pokemon is Pikachu.
All right.
My son liked Pikachu.
Is that the yellow rabbit looking thing?
Yes, that's Pikachu.
Pikachu is the yellow rabbit. That's right.
It's
We're
an
all
electric mouse.
Whatever happened to Teenage Mutant Ninjas? That was my son's era. So that's all I remember.
that was a little before.
Okay, do we got wait, do we got it? Do we got it?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
not-
playing well. I think we
It's
have
not?
the audio, but it's not playing well.
I'm not the master of the spinning disc.
Yeah, so
You know,
we'll
Sean's our own Dr. Demento.
Yes, for real.
my God, do you guys remember that?
Yep.
Oh man, Dr. Demento, man.
No.
Pet puppies.
I mean, that's how Weird Al, come on, that's how Weird Al got his start.
They don't
Weird. Hold on,
come
that
when
was
you
80s,
call. They
Well,
don't chase.
Weird Al's still touring. I was just at one of his concerts.
Listen, everybody's all mad that quote unquote Jimmy Kimmel got canceled, right? He didn't get
No.
canceled. He had networks drop it, or network syndicates drop him, like Sinclair and Nexstar. But let's take a look at the life of right the probably the most terrible radio host ever, but because he was a shock jock, right, on WABC, then he got canceled and sent to what? Satellite radio.
Sure.
Where are we at with does anyone remember what he even
Stern.
does? Yeah, does
He's
anyone
just a
even care?
pervert, Yeah, he's just a pervert.
It's always
Remember who?
been.
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern.
Mhm.
Howard Stern, yeah. Oh, by the way, I dropped the link in the chat, so if you guys want to like grab it and look at it for yourselves, it's there.
Okay.
It's funny.
COVID-
It just wouldn't. It wouldn't play on the on the
COVID
space.
COVID finished Stern. He still thinks he's going to get it.
Yeah.
It's worse than death. I mean, it's
The
been
guy
5
is
years.
He's pretty much an idiot, that guy. So,
All right,
yeah.
so Kimmel being probably 30 years younger than Stern. I'm trying to make a correlation here of nobody wants to hear your shit. That's why. All right, so there was numbers that came out 6.5 million on Kimmel's return. Again, they didn't announce the 18 to 49 group, the only group that advertisers look at, which is typically about 120,000. They didn't announce the next show, the numbers. They just said, "Oh, whoops, we forgot," because nobody watches that shit. The only reason is the white old boomer liberal people went and watched him when he came back. So Sinclair said, "We'll let you come back." And the next star even came out and said, "Yeah, it's fine. We'll let you come back." My question will be: do you think Sinclair, which is it's a pretty good chunk of stations, in Nexstar, which is also a pretty good chunk of stations, do you think they're just going to call for when his contract ends to end late night TV?
It's
And this
over.
is where I started the question when this happened. Nothing political. My question was, does late night TV dead because nobody watches TV anymore? They watch us or they watch something else on their phone.
Or on streaming or something like that. Yeah, because a lot of people stream stuff too.
I think, as far as the medium of it goes, the entire all of television media has to change anyway, because if anything is taught us, if the internet has taught us anything, is that most people can't sit down in most cases for more than 30 seconds. That's the whole reason that YouTube Shorts has taken over the algorithm there. That's the reason TikTok has exploded so much. The only one that seems to have figured that out is NBC with Jimmy Fallon, and that's because you've got Saturday Night Live that tested those markets a couple years back, noticed that they were getting a lot more viewership, at least on YouTube, than they were on their show, and went, okay, this is a different revenue stream. This is going to give us more views here and maybe more to the show. So I think what's going to happen is that they need to retool the format to go, instead of, hey, here's this random celebrity that no one's probably ever heard of, unless you're the 5 or 10 people that know who they are for the next movie, and figure out what that audience is actually going for. Just shorter clips.
So, well, all right. So let me make a very clear point here. I saw, who was it? It was it was absolutely Forrest Gump, Tom, right? And Tom posted on his Instagram and got 18 million views that he had a new movie coming out. So why would he have to fly to go to New York to see Jimmy Kimmel or any of the Colbert or any of the others when they have their own platform on their phone and they can just post a video about it? The whole business model is dead, because what it was for late night TV, right, was bringing up these actors and saying, "Here's my new movie," and they're like,
comedians.
Why do I have to waste 24 hours of my life to fly to New York, go film something at 4:00 in the afternoon, fly back, when I could just Instagram it?
Yeah.
Late night.
That's where I'm getting into. There is no reason. They have no draw. They have no power. Other than, if you look at their numbers, it's 49 plus, so 50-year-olds to however old people live, watch late night TV. Nobody under 49 is watching it. They got what he was pulling, like 120,000. That's so low. Like, go look at Joe Rogan. I don't care what you think about Joe Rogan, but he's pulling 13 or 14 million views every single show. And I bet if you break down the numbers, it's all in that 18 to 49 group, not the 49 plus.
Of course they are, and those are the same people that when Rogan walks into the arena with Donald Trump, they all stand up and go absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact is, what we're talking about is the celebrity culture, and Trump's magic is really this. It's that he's a bigger celebrity than all of them. So Bruce Springsteen wants to criticize Trump.
Oh, gosh.
Go for it. All right?
I think there's more to it than that, though. I think what makes Trump so unique is, in addition to being, his own celebrity, as a whole, what makes him also unique is the fact that he has come to the point in his life where he can say, I don't give a shit.
Somebody tried to kill him, Trad Mom.
Yeah, he can say, I don't give a shit. He's come to the point in his life where he can say, I don't give a shit. I'm going to say the truth. I'm going to say this, that, and the other thing. I don't give a shit. And when you can get to the point in your life where you can say, I don't give a shit, I'm going to spout the truth, that is an amazing point to be at.
It's the
Let me
first
give you an
president.
example.
It's
I
the
don't
first
think you can
president
say
I
that
know
about
of that dropped an
everything.
F bomb.
Yeah.
Sitting,
I don't think you can.
sitting
That's not accurate as far
Go ahead.
as
Go ahead, Paul.
he doesn't care about anything. He does. He cares. He's representing the American people on that side of things. So he does care about that very
No,
much.
I don't.
He
Okay.
with
Edward, I
retards.
don't think you get. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm just going to say I don't care. You're right. He doesn't care what the libtards say in
I think
opposition.
everyone wants a
He
turn. So,
does.
Edward, yeah, continue what you're doing, but let's give everybody a turn on this one.
I'll be okay. I've talked enough. You guys can talk. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no. But I think he does represent the American people, and I think he's doing a good job. And I think that's where things stand.
Okay. So I don't think you meant what you understood what I meant when I say I don't give an F or I don't give a shit.
Hmm?
What I mean by that is, I mean, he's to the point where you can threaten to cancel him, you can shoot at him, you can do, but he's to the point where he says, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to say what's right because there's no way you're going to cancel me. There's no way you're going to end me. And I'm just going to keep chugging along. That's what I mean.
Lincoln did the same thing.
Great.
Let's go to Paul.
I'm kind of a subject matter expert here, having been in 2 shootouts. And I could say all the rhetoric that's gone on here is incorrect. When you get in a shootout and people are shooting at you, your instinct is survival. Nothing else. Not to put too fine a point on it, and I'm not trying to bring the room down, but it's survival. You want to get out of the way of 3,250 feet per second projectiles that weigh between 7 and 10 grams from striking your body. And that's what you want to do. And if you're a professional and you're trained, what you want to do is overcome and exchange fire and overwhelm the people who are trying to shoot at you. Now that wasn't Charlie Kirk. That's not his position. But I'm just saying, having been in a couple of those scenarios, that's how it goes, and that's what's in your mindset. And I'll be quiet now.
I absolutely, and I can totally appreciate that. But Edward, you got anything? JC?
To this day,
Either
the
one.
idea that Trump had to take himself down to get out of the way validates your point, Paul. The Secret Service didn't tackle him and take him down. He took himself down.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
I
Charlie
still
would have
got
taken
shrapnel in my back from East Timor, and every once in a while, a little micro piece of it worked itself to the surface, and it,
Yeah.
gets a little blistery and stuff, and the doctor, squeezes it out and goes, "Holy shit, what's this?" And I said,
imagine.
that's a 1989 Range Rover Defender seat frame. That's what that is.
No, I'm gonna listen. It's Friday, and I'm here to break things. Paul, under Barack Obama, when you were doing war games, like without telling us, how awful was it?
I got my door closed, but bro, it wasn't good.
No.
God,
it wasn't good.
So, like you said, East Timor, and that's when I was like, "Holy shit, Barack Obama!"
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck was Barack Obama screwing around in East Timor?
Right. Yeah, that's what we
Why?
thought
We
when
can,
we went
and
over there.
everyone's critical of Trump when he's saying that Israel is not going to be allowed to take over the West Bank. And I was like, I've got opinions on that. I don't really care, but is nobody going to be critical of Barack Obama's initiatives worldwide when he was droning people all
They
over
never,
the world, just
no,
droning them?
they never have been.
Like,
This is
well,
my
DC
point
was
from
like
before. It's a slobbering love
17,000.
affair.
Oh, 1,700. Sorry, 1,700 drone strikes, including Americans abroad.
The one.
And so let me tell you something. When you're in battle tempo, you're in op tempo, and you're as alert as you could be, and you're a paid contractor.
Yeah.
You're not U.S. Army. You're a paid contractor. The the worst thing you could think of is the administration raining hellfire and damnation down on your position.
Right.
And we were cognizant of that all the time. It never happened, God forbid.
You. To you.
Because you weren't in Benghazi.
Right. It never happened to you.
No, Paul, it never happened to you because you weren't the ones in Benghazi.
Yeah.
You
You
weren't the
weren't the
ones.
ones.
You weren't the
You look
ones who
like we could get into really weird conspiracy, which we don't do. And we were very good at not doing, JC.
Right.
But we got to look at this one. This is not conspiracy. Hillary Clinton was asleep at the wheel, and people died because of it. That's
Yes.
not conspiracy.
Obama went to Las Vegas the next day for a fundraiser. He left those guys to die. All right.
Yep.
And it was all because there was gun running and CIA stuff going on in Libya. And
What?
frankly, when Paul is in a position like that, he never knows when one of him or his group is going to be considered
What were they?
expendable because we don't want to explain what we were doing here, so it's black box and we're not going to talk
What,
about
dude?
it.
You're
In
doing
his
it, but
life,
JC. What were they trying to do
run
at that
guns to
point in
Syria.
time? Yes, but what were they trying to ultimately do? Which was to overthrow the Ukrainian government.
Of course. Of course.
It's super obvious. I'm the new Alex Jones. Fuck you. I don't give a shit.
No, that's
Like
exactly
if you look at Ukraine in general, and we've had great conversations about Ukraine, and I don't care whether you don't like Orthodox religions, but with Edward, we've talked about how Ukraine's has blocked, bombed, placed landmines in parts of Ukraine because of their Russian Orthodox religion, and that Zelensky has completely banned that religion. And you
and
go, "Oh, they're a democracy.
arrested their
democracy."
clergy. Arrested their clergy, for God's sake.
I know. Yeah. Same thing we're doing here.
Mike Pence, that great avatar of religious freedom.
No. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad he will never be a president.
Well, he'll never be relevant. I mean, the funniest thing was everybody got all jazzed about Elon's new party, and I heard he was going to reach out to Pence, and I'm like, great, that's exactly what he should do. So it won't go anywhere, and it's already over. So yeah, nothing to worry about.
All right, let me break. Just because they're on, it's Friday, and we're gonna break stuff. Trad dad, trad mom. Thoughts on what we just talked about?
When it comes to the Ukraine stuff, I can't speak about it because I have other knowledge that I know on it, so I'm just leaving that one alone.
No. Yeah, all right. To be clear, Tredad, we don't talk about stuff that would affect anybody's jobs or clearance. Just in general, talk about it. Even Paul does. And he'll say, just like you, I can't speak specifically about this, but here's my thoughts in general about what's going on politically. And then obviously Trad Mom can say whatever Trad Mom wants to say.
She is free to speak. You go, Tread Mom.
Go ahead,
Darling,
Hope.
you can go ahead. You can go ahead and go first. Because my opinions on um on the country we're talking about, my brain just locked up. Um, uh,
Ukraine.
Ukraine,
No,
thank you.
because the whole
Um,
the whole the whole Arab Spring was a bunch of bullshit. It was the CIA trying to orchestrate events to get at Russia. I mean, it's so clear in retrospect what was going on. I mean, they're running guns to Syria. They're trying to destabilize that area of the world. You know, you've got Turkey there, and Ukraine's the next state. That's the whole. Clearly, that's been their thrust the entire time.
Except your timeline's off. Your timeline's off of when that was happening. The Arab Spring, when that started off, I believe, in either Tunisia or Morocco, and it started off specifically because it was a florist that was trying to sell flowers out on a local market, was told he couldn't do it, got arrested for it. They confiscated and destroyed all of the flowers that he had. Yes, this is the actual start of it. He then went out like the next week or something, went to the same square, covered himself with gasoline, and self-immolated right there in the square. That was the start. That was the start of the whole Arab Spring. It started there, and it spread from there. The next place it went to was Egypt, which Egypt was kind of easy because I think that was Mubarak that was in power in Egypt.
It was our old friend.
Wait. I did it. Hold on. I got questions because I don't know that the Arab Spring has a. They might have, and you might be correct. That is entered Egypt because Egypt will not allow Hamas to move in, which has been a request.
Yeah,
through all of this.
They won't allow Hamas to move in because that is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. They come from the same cloth. So they're not going to allow the same group back in again.
If the guy Obama wanted, Morsi, Obama and the State Department and the spooks wanted Morsi in there as the government, and General Sisi took over, and he's the guy who kicked the shit out of the Muslim Brotherhood. And that's why Hamas is not welcome. It didn't have anything to do with our foreign policy.
So they actually kind of that was the Muslim Brotherhood screwing up putting that guy to begin with, because after the Arab Spring hit Egypt, it was basically the military overthrew the government. They finally went, okay, this is starting to go south. We better get in front of this, otherwise we're in trouble on this. And they didn't want to deal with that, so they just got rid of, like I said, I think it was Mubarak. I don't remember the Egyptian leader.
It was him.
Hosni Mubarak, yeah. Then they allowed the Muslim Brotherhood to be in there, but that was, if you look at who the next guy was that took over after that, it was their intelligence. It was their intelligence leader. So he knew everything that that the Muslim Brotherhood had. They knew exactly who the leader was. They just wanted him to speak out, be able to talk for a little bit so that they can go, okay, now we know exactly what the game plan is. Now we can call him an idiot, a traitor, and everything else. We can get rid of him, and now we don't have to deal with it anymore.
So here's my plan.
You're so smart, husband.
Here's my plan. We move everybody that is Hamas or Houthi to Libya, and we isolate them. Paul. Like, that would put at least enough difference in space between them that they couldn't fire rockets anymore. Am I wrong with that? I know, Edward. I got to get to you, Edward. I got to get to you, but you got to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul. If we give them Palestine, so to speak,
Bye, Edward.
inside of Libya, but they can't fire their little rockets, which are their deadly rockets, but they're little rockets, at Israel, We put them inside of Libya, right, in North Africa. How am I going wrong? This looks like the perfect place to put them. And what's Libya gonna do? They're just gonna accept them.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot more nuance to that than what we're saying right here. And it kind of goes up to where I can't.
All right, I follow, but look through the process of what Donald John Trump was saying is that we're going to move Hamas to Libya. Start there.
I'm in favor of it.
We're going to separate them by a distance of 1,000 miles.
I know he's given up
that's
on,
what he was saying.
I know he's given up on the Gaza Monte Carlo on the Mediterranean.
Maybe.
The guy'll develop anything.
Trump doesn't give up in any business deal.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's the premise. Say, hey, Hamas, you want to live? Trump, like this was Trump's plan. We'll move you to Libya. He's like, I don't hate Libya, but fuck Libya, you're stupid. You're all stupid. So we'll just move you all. We'll pay for the whole thing. We'll move you all to Libya because your rockets can't make it to Israel. Your personal political thoughts, nothing to do with what you do with the job. Nothing to do with the job. What's your personal political thoughts? Because it's a really interesting thing.
It's not feasible. That's not a option. That's not going to work. That's not going to happen. And I can tell you definitively.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, I respect the pass.
JC, anything?
No. I mean that is all I can say is that the JC 2.0 post COVID is embarrassed by U.S. foreign policy in places like that. I think we've caused a lot more problems than we've solved, and the activation of the radicals in all those different nations, thinking that we can control the outcome just so we can get a base in Romania or something is just morally disgusting. And I want to apologize to every young man that I see that's got his legs blown off or has lost some limbs, or any widow who's lost her husband in senseless conflict. It just makes me sick.
Trad? Yeah, no, absolutely. Trads.
No, this is my Tucker Carlson part here. I don't know. I don't believe we have a good handle on what we're doing.
So I can be the first to admit this. I don't have much understanding on our current foreign policy over there right now because my primary focus of study is political subjects and things related to here within the States, and specifically subject matters that deal with domestic policy, with families, children, school, things like that. So Trad Dad is more of the foreign policy expert in the household, and he is
a big impression tonight. Yeah.
And even go ahead. I'm sorry, darling. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think the best solution for this would not be Libya. I think it would be to move them to Qatar.
Okay, why?
Qatar's where Hamas's leadership is already formed at. So why are we going to move them to Libya where, in Libya, they're not going to be liked in Libya because that entire area is pretty much a Sunni haven. Most of the groups that were out there were all pretty much the Sunni-backed ones that were Al-Qaeda, stuff like that. When you go to Qatar, which is where most of Hamas's leadership is now hiding out, and obviously Israel can still reach out and touch them because they proved that.
Imagine that, yeah.
But
they're good at that.
The problem is not trying to move them. We've tried moving them before. They've tried doing it. They've been in Algeria. They've been in Jordan. They've been in Syria, Lebanon. Pretty much every country that has had them there, they have caused problems every single time. This goes back all the way to the 40s and 50s. And to be honest with you, it goes all the way back to the history of World War I, where, the British told them going through there, the whole.
It goes well farther past World War One.
But World War I was more into
a lot of people are going to be mad when I say the Muslims want to take over the world, but they do want to take over the world. And
there's no question, right?
I say just stop. Just stop. Look at it for what it's worth, right? Yes, they absolutely want to take over the world, and you just have to look at it at face value of what's happening and how the left, so socialist or Democrat or Muslim parties, look at Minnesota, have just invited this in because they want to end Western world. They want to end Christian world. They want to have everybody submit to Allah.
To Sharia.
I mean, it's in their scripture, for goodness sake. I mean, it's in their biblical writings. Not biblical, sorry, their scriptural writings. I'm using biblical because I'm thinking Judeo. I'm sorry. My apologies on that.
They don't have scripture. And that book was in the 1400s. Again, I wish Edward wouldn't have dropped out because he's an expert in this stuff. But
yeah,
this
is right down central for him. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be perfect for him. 1400s is when that was written. The Bible started getting written in the beginning.
Well, JC was in his 20s back then. He should be able to
about the Jurassic era.
When the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Didn't you ride a dinosaur to school uphill in the snow?
Both ways.
Both ways.
I mean, where do you think that Dino came from on the Sinclair station? I mean, that was my car.
All right, 170. I'm switching topics. 170 million American TikTok users. Donald Trump just saved them. I look. I know, but I do post there. I post some of our stuff there as clips because there's so many people, Americans, that use it. I don't like. They're not. Whether it's Oracle or I think Oracle is going to be the controlling partner.
Yeah, Oracle. They already announced that.
I don't think that that's going to change anything. And here's what I want to bring up. I don't really give a crap because people who use social media are going to use social media, and they don't they're looking for whatever. It's a dopamine hit. JC and I have talked about dopamine hits when it comes to even COVID. And so dopamine hits are so powerful that it's not going to go away, and you're going to get forced into having these things. You can choose whether you want them or don't want them, and you can have it on your phone or not have it on your phone. I choose not to have Meta products on my phone, which also could probably give me a dopamine hit because I could probably beat up on somebody or somebody might beat up on me. I think where we're at is dopamine hit overdoses, JC, right? And look
Yeah.
how strong Paul is.
Well, then
Listen,
you also have to take into account they've recently started doing studies on the whole idea of dopamine deficiencies as well as uh, issues that have come from excessive dopamine, like the damage it's done to the brain, where because the brain is constantly being, in some cases, the brain is constantly being fed dopamine that it doesn't know how to regulate having a normal amount of dopamine versus an excessive amount. And then you have the other end of the coin, which is the end of the coin I'm on, which is my body doesn't process dopamine correctly at all. And so therefore it constantly needs it because it's not getting enough of it. So you have both ends of the coin.
I got a pharmacist. I want to hear from the pharmacist. Dopamine.
well, dopamine is obviously a modulator of mood as well as aggression, depression, mood elevation. My dad was a Parkinson's patient, and if somebody got confused and gave him a double dose, I had to walk him for miles to walk him down. And while we were walking, he'd always be arguing with me because he was aggressive. But the point is that dopamine's a big part of fight or flight. The two nervous systems that run in your body that you're unaware of are one's modulated by the vagus nerve, the relaxation, acetylcholine, uh, regulatory functions like elimination. I know a nice word for it. Urination, all the rest of it. It's when you sit there and you're relaxed. And the funny thing about male sexual response, for what it's worth, is if you're relaxed, then you can get stimulated. And then once you're stimulated, then you count on the dopamine and the norepinephrine and everything to make everything work. That's why men are so complicated in those terms, even though they're very simple. Visual images stimulate us, and it takes care of it. But no dopamine at all creates the shakes, because acetylcholine is not a modulator. It gets into your synapses between your nerves, and it makes you move like this beer bottle right here. I can pick this up with my hand and move it around, and I don't shake because I've got plenty of dopamine in the synapse to modulate my movements. And so once clinicians figured this out, they've played around with titrating the levels. This is one of the reasons I got into medicine in the first place. That's the kind of stuff that fascinates me, and how it can work. And regulating my dad's meds so he could actually use his silverware when he had Alzheimer's, as opposed to us being stuck, you know,
You no. Like this is so fascinating to me that we're going to do episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
yeah.
7. I don't know, of trusting the science. But when it comes to SSRIs, I've got to ask you this specifically. Does it not just mute the brain to empathy?
What it does mechanically is in that same synapse where you've got dopamine, serotonin is also present. Serotonin obviously regulates appetite and things like that, but it's an SSRI is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It keeps serotonin in the nerve synapse longer, so it prolongs the effect, and it gives you it theoretically gives you a lift in mood, and it also cuts your appetite. So that's in that same mix. In between every nerve you have those different chemicals: acetylcholine, dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and the balance of those things largely determines your mood. Norepinephrine, the way I learned it in school, basically regulates happiness. You actually, a little bit of sympathetic tone, which is what it's called, raises your mood. And so the tricyclic antidepressants kept all of those things out in the synapse. And of course, they caused heart problems. Okay. But at the same time, they discovered that you could get mood elevation from doing that. And of course, they prove to be cardiotoxic. But my best friend is on a low dose of amitriptyline right now. It helps him sleep and it makes him feel better. And it works for him. And it's, 15, 25 milligrams. So it's not dangerous. And he doesn't have to take it 4 times a day. And I've even advised him to start cutting it in half and see if he gets the same therapeutic effect from a lower dose. So
Well,
that's the kind of
we will
pharmacy.
absolutely do it. Episode
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably of what I am promoting right now, right? Which was I am the science. But no, the whole reason I asked the question is because I personally was prescribed SSRIs that didn't make me feel better, and so I have questions. Why
Yeah.
didn't they make me feel better? They made me feel numb.
Yeah, and that was the issue that I had growing up. I was a Ritalin kid for
There you go.
elementary, and yeah, I was a Ritalin kid for elementary and middle school. And then when I got into high school, they bumped me to Adderall, and I
Mhm.
was on Adderall till I was at 18. And then at 18, because of the encouraging of the youth pastor we had at my church, I completely stopped taking Adderall. I was like, nope, nope, I want to do this myself. And I can tell you, I had, even though I had a difficult time focusing and things like that, I have much more vivid memories of that year of school. I have a much deeper grasp of the experiences I had, far more than I had related to anything I experienced while I was heavily medicated. And then obviously things, changed once I was in the military and I had the whole head injury thing, but we won't get into that.
Well,
So, but yeah,
sorry, no,
Well,
no, I'm sorry, not trying to cut you off. Paul, if you need to go, I
go
totally
for it.
understand that you always go around this time to hang out with your wife.
Yeah.
We're not mad at you. We're not going to go that much longer, but if you need to
Okay.
go, totally cool. But if you want to stay, we would love to hear your opinion too. Tread Mom. No, that like so. Then we'll get into REM sleep. You can't
Right.
REM sleep if you're on SSRIs.
That's right.
So, Paul, Paul's taking SSRIs. We're not saying anything that hasn't ever been said before. Paul, did you have dreams when you were on SSRIs?
Oh, 100%, dude.
And were they
And
weird?
so, and so my dreams consisted of I couldn't get my magazine to seat
Right.
in my pistol.
It was 20-year-old. That's my point.
Yeah,
Memories that
20,
were
30-year
all
old stuff.
30-year-old that were coming
Yeah.
back, and so we'll let Tread Mom go again, but obviously I had to say, like, I mean, we're running long, totally fine. If Paul needs to go, Paul needs to go, and then Tread Mom. So now we're at REM sleep because we're now medically induced, and a lot of people are losing their REM sleep because of SSRI drugs,
And you
reuptake inhibitors.
and you can't be healthy without REM sleep.
Right.
So I do have REM. I'm not on SSRIs. I've had doctors ask me to get on them because I do have I have a traumatic brain injury, so I have some issues with depressions and a few other different like issues and things like that. But I've chosen not to go that route voluntarily because I've wanted to find ways to be able to live without drugs because I spent so much of my youth on these drugs, on Adderall, on Ritalin, that I didn't want
Oh.
to just spend my life in just this dust of a shell, not feeling like I'm living, just feeling like I'm dull to everything. And I didn't want that for my existence. So while yes, my lows are very low and my highs are very high, I feel like I'm living. I'm existing rather than just, being just, I'm living rather than just existing.
Yeah.
Pharmacists fix people. I'm gonna be very honest on it. Lots of bad things happen too. Can I? And so the pharmacist. We actually have a scientist, a pharmacist, on the show. Can you explain to me what Adderall does to the human body?
Yeah, in fact, let's just piggyback on what we were talking about. Remember when I mentioned norepinephrine and adrenaline as being part of
Mm.
that
Adrenaline's
Yeah.
powerful.
right. So basically, adrenaline and noradrenaline are pushed into the synapse by Adderall and by Ritalin. That's what they do. It's like well, let's see, light meth. Okay, I mean
Cocaine?
that's why people like
Okay.
meth so much. Yeah,
Oh, meth. Okay.
because remember it it lifts mood, it makes you feel all powerful, and it brings an element of happiness or feeling good about your ability to focus and that sort of thing. So
Well,
it's
no, I gotta totally go the other way and ask. Well, a lot of people use the depressant alcohol to feel powerful. What chemical reaction is also happening that gives them that ability to feel powerful in the same way that, and Paul, you will laugh at this, PCP.
well, no, it's just losing your inhibitions
Yeah.
because the whole cognition that you've got talks you out of stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that may look really good, but you don't want to hit it, because there's danger
Yeah.
there. You have a 12 pack, and all of a sudden you're thinking, hey, you know what's the harm? Seriously, so it blunts your restraint, like with a block. When you feel like your head's disconnected from your body and you're not in full control of what you got
Right.
going on.
100%.
Paul, when you had to go arrest those people, were they not superhuman?
I can tell you definitively, I've had my ass kicked. So I'm 6'1" and in my prime, 225, bench pressing 350. Went to the gym all the time. And I've had my ass kicked by a 5'8" agricultural Mexican on methamphetamine that
Right.
just wore me out. He was like a spider monkey. I couldn't get him off of me.
Yeah.
I was speaking to him in Spanish. I was like, please, sir, let me live. Please. My Krav Maga and my excessive strength is not working on you. Please, I will just go away if you will get off my back.
I have no idea what PCP was, and I know it was typically used in the 80s, but what my point was, Paul, is that some of these drugs that China is sending to us create 17 or 18 or 19-year-old monsters that can
Ugh.
defeat ICE, they can defeat DHS, they can defeat some of our military. And so what if you just give it to them?
So I would say to that this, and I watch a whole lot of videos of, unmanageable people at Orlando Airport and they get, you know, and I see all these fat, out of shape coppers that spend 8, 9 minutes trying to put handcuffs on somebody so they don't hurt their feelings. When back in my generation, we would stab them in the face with a knee, crush their face, and say, put your hands behind your back. And if they didn't, we broke their ribs, we cracked their cervical, we did all kinds of stuff to get them to comply.
So why do
And
you think
to
that?
see these guys now,
Hold on. Why do you think that stopped?
Well, there's
Why?
Dunkin'
Why do you?
Donuts.
No. Paul specifically. Why do you
All right.
think we stopped being that aggressive on criminals?
because in the Obama administration, he took away the blanket coverage of law enforcement
Mm-hmm.
where they weren't held liable for going over the top to make an arrest.
He weaponized bureaucracy against citizens.
Yeah.
Ah, but
And also, Sean, you were mentioning earlier about the why don't we give them the drugs? Well, now you're getting into sort of dystopian territory here. I mean, they even talked about it in the first episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation when they introduced the Q, and they talked about that at one point in the time when they had that giant war where they were controlling their military with drugs, and that's how they kept them aggressive and angry and all that. Yeah.
listen, I want to do a show just with you personally about Star Trek: The Next Generation and the what like. So hold on. You got to hear me out. Is that the Star Trek: The Next Generation was bringing in socialism, and you're all going to go,
Yes.
what the fuck are you talking about? No. This is like, well, we can replicate everything. We can just nobody has to work. And so honestly, Tread Mom, that's a
Yes.
show I want to work on. But that's exactly what that's not where Elon's going. That's not where Sam Altman's going. Sort of. But
Maybe.
what Star
Yeah.
Trek was producing a you don't have to work life. We can just replicate you clothes. We can just
Yeah, it was
we can
it was the
replicate
idea of
you
the
whatever.
socialized society. Yeah, it was the
It's
idea of the
socialism.
socialized
It's
society. Yeah.
totally socialism, communism. You don't have a want. And then I see, well, no, hold on. I got to get to Paul and maybe, maybe JC. Paul, you don't see Star Trek is that was socialism? That was the government provides
I'm
everything?
sorry. I love science fiction. I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, it's Friday. We're fucking shit up. Paul!
What?
Star Trek? Star
No.
Trek?
No.
He doesn't care.
Shields up.
Yeah, I don't give two
Alert.
shits about that. That's redonkulous, dude.
I can see it on his face, Sean. There was no flicker.
I'm sorry. I just when you mentioned the giving the drugs to individuals to make them more aggressive, my brain immediately went to the whole dystopian thing that they were discussing in the episode with John Delancey where he played Q, and they were explaining at one point in world history that they used drugs to control their military and their police, and the end result of what happened because of them using drugs to control their
But,
military and police.
Okay.
Yes, Paul?
hold
Yes,
on,
Paul?
hold on a
No,
minute.
no, wait. Yeah, totally. I'm hearing
Go
what
ahead,
you're
Paul.
saying. I don't hear Paul or JC. And I totally get it. It's all right. We're all
I
humans.
mean, you're just
You know?
going back to Brave New World and all that stuff, and
I
Soma and
fucking
all the
Brave
rest
New
of it.
World.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, the whole thing with using drugs in the military, that has historical context anyway. Alexander the Great used to use opium cakes to get his troops to
Hold
march
on,
farther, and the
Trinidad.
Nazis used.
Isn't that
And the,
MK Ultra, which also is weird to people like Paul and JC? Like MK Ultra, right? Is weird to us. Are we willing to talk about it, Trinidad?
uh,
Yes, but like you're starting to get into frog territory now.
I'm sorry.
well, no,
I
I was talking
apologize.
specifically where like amphetamines were actually being given out to the German Wehrmacht during World War II because they were
Oh
trying to
yeah,
make
that
sure
was
they
a
stay
thing
up.
too.
JC, is that true?
I, I, well, I mean, Bayer is a German company. Yeah, I think they would do anything to win. I mean, it adds
All
up, doesn't it?
right. All
Yeah.
right.
Paul, please. I see you melting down over there. Paul, please say
I am.
something.
I am.
Please say something, Paul. I am sorry. I did
Well,
not
I
mean to
got it.
bring I
it's
No.
did
getting
not mean
late
to
for
bring the
him.
crazy. I'm
It's
sorry.
getting
I
late
didn't mean
for
to bring
him.
the
Time to
crazy.
pass out. And
I am sorry.
we've been running
Let me
this
tell
show
you
for
the
a long time.
reality of it. There are two main factions that take performance enhancing drugs. Those are fighter pilots and those are special operations guys. When I was working special operations, they gave us medication
What's the
that
drug?
let us operate at full capacity
So you
What's
could
the
for
stay.
drug?
14 to 18 hours.
What's the
Yeah.
drug?
And so in the fighter pilots, the best example is the latest where the bombers went from St. Louis, Missouri, all the way to
To
Iran
and back.
Yeah,
from both
17-hour
bunker
round trip.
busters
Yes.
and flew back.
Yes.
And they gave them the same drugs that they gave me when I was, gunslinging.
Can you tell us what the drug
Sure.
is?
Right.
No, I cannot.
All right, Paul. Paul, I love you. I love you. So I'm gonna go to JC. What's the drug?
Probably benzphetamine.
All right, there we go.
So the one I was specifically talking about was during World War II. It was from 1933 to 1945. It was the drug Pervitin. It was specifically a methamphetamine that was given to the German Wehrmacht.
No, no, no. This is more modern, and I don't say you're wrong, but this is not what we're doing currently.
Yeah,
And,
he's talking more modernized
We
I
get
get
the
that.
drugs. I
I
money
get
get
what
that.
you
But
mean.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying is there was historical context to that being used.
all right, let's go back to the pharmacist. What would you think that would superhuman humans? What drug is that?
Oh, you
Oh,
are
the
dying over
pharmacist.
there, Paul.
Go ahead,
No,
Fantastic.
JC.
no,
Light us up, boy.
no. We're
No,
not gonna fuck up your career. I'm gonna ask the
it's already
pharmacist.
fucked up. It's no problem. I mean, but really, I've been investigated and all the rest. I mean, all you had to do was endorse hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, and you were drummed out of polite society. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right,
We
bro.
want guys like Paul to continue to live and enjoy their life. You know that? Yeah, absolutely.
Come
Anyway,
on, we all know that Paul got those glowing blue vials that they gave to make Captain America. That's what he got.
What are you talking about like that? Oh fuck! Didn't it was Amazon Prime? The V. Oh, the vaccinated. Well, whatever they were, but the vaccinated people all had superhuman powers. Yeah, it actually. Paul and I have talked about some of these things too, but
Yep.
I want to go back again. All right, to JC. Hey,
here he comes.
isn't some of these things really true when it comes to vaccinations that aren't supposed to be injected into human bodies?
Well, of course. I mean, you know, I mean, let me put it this way. We didn't just get the Nazi rocket scientists. As we discussed last night, we obviously got the Nazi doctors too. And
Hmm.
anyone who thinks that those that are in charge of our biopharmaceutical complex are above running a nationwide experiment on human beings just to see how it turns out without regard for anything that happens to our families or our loved ones are whistling Dixie. You just went through it, okay? and they're still pushing it. And the one guy who threatens to end the party, they want him drummed out of HHS with one voice. The entire power of the bureaucracy.
Isn't that dude a Democrat?
He was. Those are always the best Republicans.
No, I get it. But isn't that dude a Democrat who wants to
Well,
stop?
yeah, I mean, he's a Kennedy Democrat. I mean, as I've said before, and I'll say it again out loud, Donald Trump is a JFK Democrat, and he
Oh,
always has.
absolutely. Totally
I
agree.
mean, for God's sake, I'm a JFK Democrat. It's just that the road that the Democrats went down with Marx, Lenin, and Stalin is not a road that I can go with them. And so, just like Ronald Reagan, former Democrat, okay, just like Robert F. Kennedy, former Democrat, just like Donald Trump, former Democrat, just
Still
like Tulsi
Democrat.
Gabbard,
Still Democrat.
former
Let's be
Democrat. Okay,
very clear. He's going to be the most successful Democrat president ever.
well, because they know how to fight the left, because they've been on the inside of the belly of the beast. And Trump said that to them in that debate where, Megyn Kelly was on tonight talking about how Robert Redford wrote her congratulations note when she tried to take down Trump. And I would have said, hey, Megan, you just made him the president. The idea that your views on women, you're this, you're that, whatever. And he goes, you call them pigs and disgusting animals. Just Rosie O'Donnell. And 10 years later, it's still the funniest damn thing you ever heard in your life. She came back at him, but it was already done at that point. No, remember Mitt Romney Mitt Romney couldn't handle Candy Crowley. Sean talks about the 5 worst presidents. We'd have had 2 more of them if the Republicans had their way. McCain and Romney. That'd have been the worst you ever seen in your life. We'd probably already be incinerated in a nuclear war if McCain was president.
Absolutely.
Idiot. All right. I obviously speak freely, but the Republicans have not had much imagination. Between 1976 and 2004, a man named Dole or Bush was on their national ticket every single election. That's not very imaginative. And for an encore, they were talking about Jeb Bush.
Oh, good
We've
Jesus
had enough.
Christ.
We've had enough. I mean, the thing that everybody hated about Republicans was they shipped our jobs overseas. So you're going to nominate Mitt Romney, the guy who's most likely to do that, or we're going to send your kids overseas to die. So we'll elect John McCain, the guy most likely to do that.
Holy shit! I don't really give a crap that he put a dog on top of his car in a cage. But no, hold on. So I want to go around the room. Who's the 5 worst presidents for you? I've already explained mine on social media. So Paul, 5 worst presidents. Paul. 5 worst presidents. And don't tell me it's Obama, because a lot of people will say Obama, but so obviously you're gonna go to places like.
So that's hard for me to say because.
Well, yeah, and actually,
honestly,
hold on, Paul. I want to explain this to everybody. For Paul, Paul is a Bill Clinton liberal, but he's pro MAGA. That's why he's always hanged out. That's why he's always hanged out with me. Just to be clear on everything. So Paul. Again, 5 worst presidents, probably for you. Maybe
I would say Nixon.
I would say
Harrison. He was just Grover Cleveland was horrible.
Yep.
LBJ. was he harmed the country. We're still recovering from the policies and shit that LBJ did.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly.
And he's just horrible. And if I could bring him back to life, I'd beat him to death.
Paul, he killed Kennedy. You know that.
All right. Let's go to JC 5.
This one's pretty easy. Joe Biden, the auto pen. I would also.
Woodrow Wilson also
I'm gonna
be
I'm gonna
included on that?
surprise you, Paul. I'm gonna throw in George W. Bush. I thought he was awful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason. The Bush family are Fabian socialists, and
Yep.
they represent the worst of the Democrats. They don't give a damn about the common man. And I'm not throwing his old man in there because his old man didn't run 2 terms. But when he turned his back on Reagan and told Gorbachev that, things are going to be different when I'm in office, that told you the whole thing. And then when push came to shove and George Mitchell told him, we're going to shut down the government if you don't raise taxes. And of course, he capitulated when all he had to do was go on TV and say, look what they just said. They're going to shut down the government unless I break my promise. He trusted the Democrats more than he trusted the American people. And even though he's not in my 5, the kid didn't fall far from the trunk. All right. Woodrow Wilson
Okay,
is
so
a
move on.
fucking disgrace. All right. Federal Reserve, income tax, all right?
Yep.
Capping the House of
Oh, and then
Representatives,
he had a stroke, and he wasn't even in charge.
435 representatives forever, so we have all this redistricting bullshit rather than doing it by population. Totally wrong. Direct election of senators, so now we have jokes like McCain and these clowns like Lindsey Graham instead of having the state legislatures appoint their senators so they can actually represent their state interests instead of just running a beauty contest. Woodrow Wilson is an absolute disgrace.
I gotta stop you. Hold on. I'm gonna get to the trads, but explain to me, because this is super important, why direct election of senators was a failure that we should never have done.
Because we had a great balance of power between the several states and the federal government. And by moving to direct election of senators, you turn senators into super congressmen who are insulated from their decisions. Can you imagine the Senate coming up with some of the bullshit that they do if those guys had to go back and face their own state legislators and say, what are you doing to us? You're destroying our economy. You're just going along with Pelosi, or you're just going along with bitch McCommunist instead of doing what's right by us, and we're going to throw your ass out. That's how it was designed to work. And that would balance
that was true separation of powers. Like,
right.
That's where that got fucked up. All right, so hold on, because it's a podcast. Trad Dad thoughts.
So my top 5 worst are going to go with first Andrew Johnson because he couldn't keep up.
Any chance you can turn down the vocalizer a little bit and sound more like you? No, I get why you're doing it, but like it's just weird. Like turn it down just a little. Like you don't have to turn it all the way off, but
I'm trying to get it there.
Go ahead and go.
Okay, so for me, the top 5 worst.
That's much better.
The top 5 worst would be Andrew Johnson, and that is because a lot of the stuff that Lincoln was trying to do after the Civil War, he pretty much capitulated to the radical Republicans and made the entire thing into let's punish everyone in the Confederacy, and that gave us a lot of the problems that we have today that deals with the racial discrepancies that we have now. That's actually the backbone of a lot of the problems that we have there. The next one is going to be Herbert Hoover, because he couldn't even figure out how in the world he was going to deal with the Great Depression. There were quite a few ways that he could have dealt with it, and instead of trying to figure out a way that the government could help out and actually make things better, he instead just kept doing the same policies as before and made it very easy for FDR to win. After that, it's going to be LBJ, because everything with both of the Civil Rights Acts, not to mention Vietnam, and the fact that he just before he's supposed to go for the re-election says he's not going to go for re-election again, sent the entire Democratic Party into complete turmoil, which led to Nixon getting in, who was not a better version of everyone. He's still not my worst top 5. That would go to Gerald Ford, who couldn't figure out that he needed to actually bring some sort of responsibility to Nixon for what he had done during Watergate. At least say, all right, I'm not going to completely absolve him from everything that he did. He still needed to come to terms with that.
Hold on. Trad Mom.
Rhinos aren't very good with accountability.
Hold on.
Ford
Trad
is a
Mom.
rhino.
Top 5 worst presidents.
Oh, geez. Okay. So, I hate to do this. I really, really hate to do this, but I have to say ditto on Chad Dad, because all the ones he mentioned were the ones I was going to say too.
Wonder you guys are married. That's good.
One of them I forgot, I didn't get a chance to mention, was Bill Clinton. Because a
lot
of the trade policies.
You may not have wanted to do that.
A lot of the trade policies.
Here, let's take a match and strike it over a gallon of gas, all right?
All right, time out. Paul, top 5 worst presidents.
Bill Clinton balanced the budget not once.
Yeah, sure.
Twice.
There was a reason for that, but go on. Top 5 worst presidents.
Well, I did them a few minutes ago. Did you forget already?
Of course
he did.
I did Herbert Hoover.
He's been vaping.
Truman. I did Nixon. And I did
LBJ.
So why LBJ? Why, Paul?
Because you know why? Because LBJ put forth the worst thing that ever happened in American history, was given single moms power and giving them sitting on the couch checks where they didn't have to work. He single-handedly fucked up the low income, which was primarily black, but he fucked up the whole generation there, and it's just been exacerbated by other low
income laws and things like that. Yeah.
I agree with
you. Exactly.
JC, jump in.
Subsidized black fathers out of their own families.
Right.
Right.
He actually, that's right, JC. He actually made it more financially palatable to be a single black mom than it was to have the nuclear family together.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I can tell you right now, the creation of those laws, the creation of those rules, of that system, of the whole thing, completely removed the drive or the push or the ambition for these women to go, okay, my husband left, or my husband walked out, or whatever. It completely robbed them from the ability to go, okay, well, yeah, while he left, I can pick myself up and improve.
Hold
and
on.
completely remove
Hold
that
on.
ambition.
No. Hold on. Where this all started, and a lot of people are going to tell me, go fuck yourself and whatever, I don't care, is where this started. JC will finally agree with me when I say my thoughts, is that in the early 1950s, Rosie the Riveter, it had nothing to do with race. It had to do with putting people who were working when the men were gone in World War II, feminism, right? And yeah, no, feminism. And they're like, no, they have to work too. And and they brought up this point of all women need to work. We didn't know women needed to work. None, because in the 1940s and the 1950s, people could absolutely have a family in a $40,000 home and
Absolutely.
and just work through the things and just have the man work
Yep.
and the woman be at home. Like no,
I wish,
Trinidad's agreeing with me, but like this is exactly where the things failed. It was the 1950s, and,
absolutely.
and people absolutely failed to agree with me on this. That this is
No,
where feminism started. They're like, no, it started in the 1960s, and I was like, no, 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 it started in the 1940s.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I fortunately, I am very blessed. I am very blessed that I live in a home where I get to live that life, where my husband's income is what keeps us, fed and clothed and with the roof over our head. And that was the life that I wanted for myself when I became an adult. And I know there are a lot of young ladies, and I've met many young women that would kill to have that again, but because of the feminist movement, because of all the BS that came in what was it, first wave feminism, uh, that is completely now out the window. So now so for women that complain about the I don't want to live the girl boss life and everything, blame first
No,
wave for feminism.
let's explain what first wave feminism was, and it was Rosie the Riveter, right? And Rosie the Riveter was not. We're producing stuff for World War II. Rosie the Riveter came after World War II because we needed to talk about women being in the workforce, which they were not. Trad mom.
Oh yeah, no, very few women in the 1950s, very, very few women had actual jobs. If they did have jobs, they were typically limited to work within a business that was owned by their direct family, either their father or their husband or something like that. And usually their job was limited to showing up at the business, sweeping, maybe putting a few things away, maybe making coffee and bringing her husband or her father some lunch and then going home.
Oh, and also they were hot. So let's not just associate all of the things that the left-wing people are saying. Oh, there was hot chicks working there. Well, okay, they were, but they were working there. We got to be very clear during the World War II era. They were working there. Rosie the Riveter came way after World War II. This whole movement of Rosie the Riveter was a feminist movement of we can work too, and we can do it better than you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely that was the message it was trying to portray. And unfortunately, now we more traditional women here in the world are paying for it.
Jesus, I don't know how you guys fix that. How do you fix it?
Um, to be honest, the first thing that we fix is we fix essentially this whole inflation issue and everything, and make it so that a single income family can afford a house without needing to have both parents working you know two jobs or having multiple roommates or anything like that. So we eliminate that issue first, and then the next step, once that issue is resolved, and that's a whole kettle of fish in and of itself. Next thing is the social reconditioning, getting women to understand that while yes, you have the ability to do a job or work in an office, but that is not what what do you call it? That is not your base job. That is not your base instinct. That is not your purpose of creation. Your purpose of creation is to be the creator of food, the grower of gardens, the maker of garments for your home, the lover of your family, the bookkeeper of your home, the one who makes everything run essentially within your home structure. That is your job. And if you can do that efficiently and to the best of your ability as a woman, you've done right by yourself.
JC, Paul,
I just
jump
say
in.
I'd say that's the Erica Kirk model.
Yeah.
I would say, in terms of what I think needs to happen, is we need to change the incentivization of what is paid for as far as low income families. Because the way it works right now is if you're a single mother and you have a child, or if you have a child on the way, you're given X, Y, and Z in order to provide for that. What it needs to be done is they need to go to younger families, ones that already are a nuclear family. You have a husband, you have a wife, you have a child on the way. You need to incentivize that. If you can bring back incentivizing the nuclear family, you can start bringing back some of the values. The issue is going to be trying to make it so that people want to stay home, but also be productive at home and take care of the household. So how will you create policies that would actually affect that?
Indeed.
Paul, JC.
I mean, you could incentivize family formation in the way that the Hungarians have. I think that has a lot of merit.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, I saw that talk that they did with gosh, I always forget his name. Tucker Carlson.
Orban,
The Tucker.
Victor Orban.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, exactly. I saw the Tucker Carlson Hungary thing that he did. That was
Yeah,
fantastic, by the way.
Poland's got a lot of that same stuff too. The thing is, trad mom and trad dad, Eastern Europe remembers what it was like to be communists. Western Europe doesn't have a clue. So
Nope.
Eastern Europe is more aligned with Americanism.
Paul, no, hold on. I gotta stop everybody right there. So Bosnia, Paul, explain Bosnia to me, which is mostly Russian.
Yeah,
It's Yugoslavia.
it is.
No, it's
Yeah.
mostly Russian.
Yeah, no, it is. And I will say modern Bosnia, which I love dearly, and as you know, we're building a
Mm-hmm.
house over there,
Mm-hmm.
is like America in the 50s. So the kids, not all of them have cell phones. Everybody comes home when the street lights come on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody goes to school. It's funny that the ladies all get together and they go to the cafe bar, and one of the ladies walks by and they whisper, "Well, Mrs. Trifunovich, she's getting," you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom and dad's generation.
Well, wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I really want to get into like Bosnia. Obviously is USSR, but the USSR isn't bad. But I also want to get into why Bosnian people, like your wife, wanted to become American. So can we let's walk through some of that?
No, so I gotta say, honestly, that's not true.
Okay.
Honestly, most of the Bosnians that get their degree and, want to work and stuff, America is a bridge too far. They don't
Oh,
dream about going to America. They dream about going to the UK. They dream about going to Germany. They would like to have a great job in France
so
or something like that
why? Oh, well, France is retarded, but why Germany?
Ugh.
Why do they want to go to Germany?
because they think Germany is the closest to the US and its
Sure.
economy and, conduct and things like that. So, and when you go to school in Bosnia, starting in elementary school, you have three choices for language. It's English, German, or Russian. And you have to pick one of those. And once you pick them in the first grade, you will take that all the way through graduation.
So you're an American,
Sh-
and
Sean?
no, hold on. You're an American, Paul, and you know all the well, not you're not competent in all the languages, but you know all the languages. You have done in your life, not just American war on drugs shit, which is awesome. I mean that there was a whole television show on it, and we make fun of you and we're like you're that guy. When we look at this war on drugs, Paul, when I got to get back to this, the Venezuela, right? We're just gonna drop drones on them. Well, and we probably won't even drop drones on them. We'll just drop missiles on them. Do you have a problem with this from an American standpoint?
No, and I'll tell you why I don't. Because there are guys like me that are on the ground right now verifying that these things
Happening.
are bad guys and that these ships are going, boats are going out and they're full of bad guys. It's not just a random, missile launch. There's guys on the ground like me, like what I did on the DEA task force back in the 80s, and
So,
that's what they do. We go, let me mark that boat, that's it. And before, what was really scary was we had to, guys like me had to literally go on the boat and paint a X on top of the canopy with red paint.
wow.
Whereas now, they could do it electronically and stuff.
And,
JC,
and
So,
no, I'm gonna JC, I'm gonna get to you. What are your
just
thoughts on?
Well, no, I
Sean,
mean,
just
No,
quick thing.
I'm
We
totally
gotta
getting
bow
into
out.
you, Trinidad.
No, we gotta
You
bow
know,
out because
Trinidad,
we.
go.
No, we just gotta bow out because we've got to go and make dinner and stuff. That's what we were trying to do. We were trying to interrupt the conversation.
Sorry.
Fair enough. Fair
no, I
enough.
mean,
all right, see you guys.
We'll
Have a
see you
good
next.
weekend.
We'll
Yep.
see you guys next Friday, maybe.
Yep, we'll see you
All
there.
right.
Have a good night.
See you then. Have a good night.
I mean,
Uh,
we've all felt completely powerless watching those speedboats fly on the shores in California and Florida, watching all those illegals jump out and they just come ashore and nobody does shit about it. And I mean that went on for years. And you could see that every day. And it wasn't just Laguna or wherever it was, wherever those damn boats showed up, they could do whatever they wanted. And the blue states did nothing about it. And the idea of incinerating these guys and sending them to meet their maker just gives me a chubby. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm,
look, I'm at the same point,
yeah.
but But what's funny is that like then you have Kimmel, right? Of course, he's back online. All of the networks have reapproved him,
Of
and it's
course.
just whatever. I don't give a shit. They're totally allowed to do it. It's free speech. I don't give a crap. But it's not about it. They can say it's about free speech. I don't give a shit. What it's about is that the fact that they're just lying and calling that free speech. Now, when we talk about, hold on, the destroying uh, drug boats. Okay, do it. That's where I feel. Do it, Paul.
Defend the border.
Am I wrong? Why shouldn't we? Where did? Hold on. I actually got a
Bro,
Paul. Why did we not do this under Reagan?
we
Why didn't we
did
do this
though,
under
bro.
Obama?
No, we
Oh,
did. We did
why
all of
wasn't
that.
never?
But we
Why
didn't
wasn't
do it,
never?
remotely. It was guys like me
Yeah.
carrying a satchel charge and going down the dock at 2 in the morning and putting it on the boat with a 45-minute discharge on it and hoping I didn't get my ass killed,
Oh no, yeah.
running back up to the parking lot. And I'd jump in
Which is
my
which is awesome.
undercover Dodge 4-wheel drive D150 and I'd haul ass out of there, and then at like
Well, wait.
4:45 in the
Why the
morning, that
no,
boat would
hold
Paul,
on,
go
you
hold on.
wait for the
kaboom.
Hold
boom
on,
like you're on
why are we
Hogan's Heroes.
using? Hold on. No, that's awesome. But why aren't we now in 2025 using $130 drones to just go do this shit? And
Because it's
instead of
cheaper.
like so what like when you were doing it, there was humans involved that could die.
Oh yeah.
So
I
why aren't we using the robots?
I prefer their humans die.
Oh, I don't. I don't want to be weird about it, but yes, I'm saying. Well,
So
my
what?
point
So
is,
I
Paul,
just want
you
to
know,
clarify.
because you're in this industry. I am also super into AI. Why is not AI just killing the enemy?
So
And we're
let me
live. We are
clarify on that.
live.
Yeah,
Just
let me
so you're aware.
clarify. So they utilize AI to identify a target, and they've so far been 99 to 100% accurate.
Okay.
But it also relies on human intelligence on the ground
Sure.
before they say, yes, sir, if that boat leaves the dock and they get out
So
into the Gulf
let's get
Stream.
more specific. So the Venezuelan boats carrying literally cocaine, uh, we blow them up, and for whatever reason, they're saying, you should have. I don't understand why that's a problem now when it wasn't a problem under Bush or under
And what
Clinton.
they're so I hate to interrupt, Sean, but what the public doesn't understand is we've had multiple teams in Venezuela for years. And it's just not like a random boat from Venezuela is getting blown out of the water. You got guys like me that were on a DEA task force that goes, yeah, we know, the boat that says VF 3294's got X amount of kilos on it. Go ahead, bro. And that's what they don't, that's what the liberal media doesn't say. They don't say that, you know, we did the due diligence. We know these were guys, and they were, you know,
We
all
gave
they
them
want to
due
know is,
process, right?
huh?
We already gave them due process.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the way out. Yeah.
I gotta close the thing out, man.
All right,
We
Sean.
can keep talking.